It is over.
When you hear that sweet, sweet music, you know what time it is. It is Insiders time, and we are here with you all tonight for our weekly podcast. We are glad to have you all with us this evening and glad to be here as usual. And along with myself, of course, my co-host, Jeff. Jeff, man, what is going on tonight?
Nothing much, man. Just finished watching NXT, and that was a big surprise at the end to see Pat McAfee helping
nice.
Danny Burch and Oni Lorcan win the tag team championship. So
there you go. That's awesome.
So yeah.
Mr. McAfee wasn't a one-off like everybody thought. Well, there you go.
Exactly.
There you go. That's awesome. Of course, next week we have NXT's Halloween Havoc, which is going to be a lot of fun. We will be streaming that. We don't usually do streams during the week, but I could not pass up an opportunity to stream Halloween Havoc show over in AEW. So everybody, a lot of you guys like Abaddon. Abaddon will be wrestling on AEW next week as well. So that's pretty exciting. We all know her character. I'm interested to see how they do that. I'm interested to see if they make her tone down her entrance and stuff for live TV. But you know, that's pretty cool. And I mean, so it seems like they're getting into that Halloween theme. Next week's going to be interesting because, you know, you've got all the shows, and I'm sure it is, you know, it's the week of Halloween. Halloween's on a Saturday. So it's going to be really interesting to see. So welcome, everybody. And thank you for joining us. Of course, a little bit later on, we're going to be giving away that code for Bound for Glory. What I will say, a lot of you had to go in there and do a couple of things. I just asked, I think, to like, you know, both us and FITE. I said to like the post, of course, retweet the post. But the numbers don't all match. So some people kind of are going to miss out because you either didn't comment or didn't retweet. So I have to kind of go off of who followed all the instructions. So just remember, we do this again. With any luck, we'll get more codes from FITE TV. Remember to follow all of the instructions. Very simply outlined. So just remember to do that. I don't want to see people missing out because they didn't comment or something along those lines. But we will be introducing the winner of that a little bit later on. We have Gary Cassidy and some opening comments for us and some opening news and stuff from him. So we will get to that in a second. And as always, thank you to our sponsors for our show, Manscaped. Manscaped, yes. Refining the gentleman, Manscaped is an amazing product for men. Great stuff. They have made a whole bunch of new products. They have the Lawnmower 3, which is an innovation in male shaving science. It's a great device, great stuff that they have. Again, nose hair, ear hair trimmer. That's amazing for older guys. And of course, get something, guys, because you don't want to snip the balls. You don't want to do that. It is not fun. Don't do it. It is not fun. Manscaped helps you with that. Use our code Insiders, 20% off of any order. Go over, check their website out, and take care of your jungles. Yes. Thank you to them. All right. So, little review of what we're going to be doing. Of course, we got Gary coming up first. He's going to talk to you guys about some breaking news and some things that happened, of course, throughout the course of last week. We are going to talk about our top 3 things that we enjoyed for the week. Maybe calling them a little bit, maybe a mark out moments of the week. We'll be talking about that. We'll get input from you guys. What did you guys like through the course of this week? What made you mark out? What made you mark out for the week? Let us know in the chat when we get to that portion of the show. Then we will announce the winner of the code. And then we will have a Calynn Corner a little bit later. May not keep you guys all that late tonight because, you know, we've got so much stuff going on. We have a preview show tomorrow for 2 pay-per-views, Bound for Glory and Hell in a Cell. Looks like there aren't that many matches for Hell in a Cell. Jeff told me earlier there's only 4 matches so far. Now, we may get a few more on SmackDown, which I'm guessing we will. But it's only 4. And we saw a little bit of a thing going on with Bray and Retribution again today on Twitter. So we'll see. We'll see what that leads up to, anything for Hell in a Cell. So like I said, we won't keep you guys too long tonight. Make it maybe a little bit of a quicker show because we've got the show tomorrow, and then we have a lot of stuff going on in the weekend, which you all know. We have Bound for Glory on Saturday night, starting at I think we're going to start it at 7, because the Ken Shamrock into the Hall of Fame thing is going to be at 7:00 on the pre-show. I don't know exactly what time it'll be, but it'll be during the pre-show. But that's going to be pretty cool because that's the whole thing where The Rock had talked to him and said he was going to come on and do a little video for him for that. So it should be cool. Seeing that and seeing The Rock on Impact on Bound for Glory. So very cool for that. And then of course we will have Hell in a Cell on Sunday as well. I see people boosting in chat. Let me say hello to some of the people in chat and then we'll go to Gary. We have famous KJ Carter says, yo, yo, yo. Joshua Mickelson, hello to you. Hello, Clay Sculptures. How are you? James Chadwick is here. Hello, James. I know James is up quite late coming on the show. People are pissed about Pat McAfee. Yeah, I'm sure they are. Sean Rousset. Hello, Jeff and Joe. Hello to you, Sean. Calynn Corner is here. Jessi, what's going on? Maybe I should just go home now. Why are you going home? Who else? We have anybody else that I missed? Rusty Shackelford just popped in the chat. There you go. Rusty was lurking. Hello, Rusty. How are you? All right. Let us go into Gary's segment, shall we? So here is Gary Cassidy. Thank you to Gary, as always, for sending us over some stuff. I know Gary is busy with his wrestling stuff, and he still has the courtesy to send us this every week, which is great. So here's Gary, guys, with the wrap up of the wrestling news for the week.
Hey guys, hope you're well. I think there might be only one place we can start this week, and it's not Bound for Glory. We're definitely going to get to that. Had this not happened, there would be the one place, and it would be Bound for Glory. But for me, there's only one place we can start this week, and it's got to be the big rumour that The Undertaker is going to be appearing at Survivor Series. Now, it's a bit of a tricky one. You know, we spoke a lot during the Last Ride documentary series about how perfect the ending was, and how definitely Jeff called it that we were going to be seeing The Undertaker's last match unfold. I think the longer the series went, we were all on board with it. We all started to think that way too. But it looks like he's going to be at least appearing again in WWE. So I kind of wish this wasn't happening because, like we said, it was such a perfect ending. We maybe didn't need to see him again. You know, we've seen the perfect ending more than once, I think. But I guess if we're going to see The Undertaker return, what better way than for it to be on his 30th anniversary, 30 years since his Survivor Series debut. Again, 30 years later at Survivor Series. And the big selling point for me, in the Thunderdome. Just to see that entrance. He might come out and confirm he's retired. My fear is that he'll come out and we'll see an angle get going for next year's WrestleMania. Because he's the Undertaker, maybe he can't stay away. Maybe we are going to see him, back for one last match in front of a crowd. If we get a crowd at WrestleMania, that's still a little bit up in the air. Let's see how that one goes. Inside the Ropes actually had put out in the first edition of the magazine, a few days after I started writing for them, this magazine, edition 1 came out, and Ric Flair said he thinks we'll see Undertaker wrestle again. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. The report came from WrestleVotes, who are quite reliable normally, that Survivor Series will be built around the Undertaker's 30th anniversary and that he will appear on the show. But it's just a waiting game. We've got 30 Days of the Dead Man happening from this weekend, which we'll see a lot of documentaries on Undertaker on the WWE Network. But let's just wait and see. I'm not hating the idea because I quite like the idea of getting an Undertaker entrance in the Thunderdome, but I don't want to see him wrestle another match unless it is definitively he signs a contract that has to be the last match. Yeah, we'll wait and see. In the place we should have started with, if the Undertaker hadn't been so rude as to, be newsworthy this week, the one place we would have started is Bound for Glory. Of course, I'm a huge Impact fan. I know you guys are too. I can't wait for this weekend. We've got Hell in a Cell, of course, which, it's just the way it is. WWE events are always going to be the thing that people are excited to see on a grander scale, because not everyone is a massive Impact fan. I think more people are starting to become Impact fans. And, Doc Gallows said it best last night on the Talking Shop show that aired immediately after Impact, Full Keg, I believe it was called. He said that people are sleeping on Impact and it's time for them to wake up. For me, Bound for Glory is really exciting. Slammiversary, I think, was one of my favourite shows I've seen all year. Bound for Glory is usually the biggest show Impact offers of the year. And my favourite thing about this year's Bound for Glory is it's almost impossible to predict what is going to happen. So, firstly, we should say amazing news. Deonna Purrazzo has signed a full-time contract with Impact Wrestling. That, I believe, had been a long time coming. Her v Kylie Ray is a match that I think could steal the show. I spoke to Kimberly last week. That was what she said is going to steal the show. But in saying that, the four-way tag team match is very hard to look past that. Impact's tag team division is incredible. And for me, I love Eric Young. And I think the story they've told between him and Rich Swann has been amazing. It's went all the way back to Slammiversary. They've woven it in between the storyline with him and Eddie Edwards. I think that could steal the show. And the X Division Championship match looks great too. For me, I think it's just a brilliant card and I can't wait to see what happens. I think it's going to be absolutely brilliant. So yeah, let's all look forward to talking about that next week. And the one last thing I'm going to mention, because I've just put up an exclusive on it earlier tonight, I'm normally not one for, I think I've told you guys this before, I'm normally not one for exclusives where it's like X company is going to push X superstar because so much can get in the way of it. And it's a bit of an easy one as well. If I say that a company likes someone, there's a very good chance it's true because they probably wouldn't hire the person or put them on TV if they didn't. It's just the way it is. But whenever I put these out, I like to add a little something to them. We spoke about the Keith Lee one where I was like, WWE like him, but they might tweak what he looks like going forward. They might tweak his attire. So kind of similar thing. The person that's the subject of this time round is Elias. So a lot of stuff that is probably easy for people to determine by just seeing Elias the past 2 weeks. He turned up on Raw, attacked Jeff Hardy. This week had a full band performance, pyro, session musicians, the lot. Investment of TV time, 2.5 to 3 songs, I believe he played. That's big in terms of TV money and TV time, putting that trust into someone. But it will come as no surprise that I've been told that a lot of people in WWE really, really like Elias. I think that's even been obvious going back to before his injury. And he's been vocal about it in an interview with Sports Illustrated recently where he said that he was actually meant to face Undertaker. Then they got the Goldberg match with Undertaker instead. And then he was meant to face John Cena. And then they went for Cena Wyatt instead at WrestleMania. So he's had a lot of big matches planned for him. Not all of them have come to fruition. He, of course, ended up facing Baron Corbin. I'd actually been told that there were big plans for him beyond WrestleMania, but I never ever got told who that opponent was going to be or opponents if they were going to do a few matches. But obviously, the thing that happened was that he instead got an injury. I believe it was a pectoral injury. Had to be off TV for a bit, and then they've looked him back round. The thing that I love is the consistency, the continuity. He attacked Jeff Hardy, because in storyline, Jeff Hardy ran him over and put him off TV. But yeah, the main thing that I've heard, I've went a long way around it. I've told you all the stuff that you should probably have seen and been able to refer from TV that he has liked anyway. But the main thing I've been told is that he was moved to Raw because Raw is a 3-hour show and Elias is the kind of person they trust to just put in there no matter the length of time. I don't think we'll see him on screen for an hour, of course, doing a full gig. But I don't know if WWE would necessarily hate the idea of having him out there for quite a long time. Maybe not an hour, but maybe close to it. Yeah, he's definitely someone they see as a plug-and-play type guy. He's been out for 4 months, but they can just chuck him back in there with Jeff Hardy. Not going to hurt anything to put him out there with a Grand Slam champion. So that's definitely someone that they see as being a big part of the future, both WWE's future, Raw's future, and obviously as well Elias's future, because not only does putting him out there for a long amount of time benefit them the way they're seeing it, because he's a very talented performer, but it benefits him because he gets to go out there for a longer time than he would get to do on SmackDown maybe. So yeah, there you go. One to watch on SmackDown, on Raw even. One to watch and see what Elias does going forward, because I think we'll be seeing a lot more of him going forward. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed AEW. I've actually just watched a little bit of it just now, and man, that Rey Fenix match, Rey Fenix Pentagon are brilliant. I'm a big Lucha Underground guy, so I loved that one. And I really liked the stuff with Wardlow and Kenny Omega as well. So really good show so far, and hopefully it's as good when you guys are chatting about it in an hour. Have a good one.
All right, guys. Well, there is Gary Cassidy. Thank you so much to Gary. Talking about some things. We'll touch on some of the things he talked about. Some interesting stuff all in there. And we hope you enjoyed the segment from Gary as always. Let's see, some other people popped in the chat here. I believe Hayden is here. Hello, Hayden. How are you? Let me see if there's anyone else. Did I miss? The chat went like crazy for a little bit there. Gust is here. Hello to you. Welcome to the show. Yeah. All right. So he talks a little bit about the Undertaker, and yes, that is kind of all over the place. People have been talking about it. I've seen it on dirt sheets. I've seen it on websites a lot today, where they're all saying that the Undertaker is going to show up at Survivor Series. Now, we all kind of knew that this probably would be the case, because it is his, it's the date of his anniversary, 30 years. Kind of figured that he probably would end up being involved at some point. I agree with the chat. I don't think there's going to be a match. I did call you crazy, Rusty, because Eugene is not going to be at Talking Shop-A-Mania too. Yeah, he's gonna be there. I don't think he's going to get involved in a match. I don't think there will be a match. Now, Gary alluded to maybe can there be something that might signify that he will have a match at WrestleMania next year? Well, maybe. I mean, look, we talked about this also quite a bit when we were talking about The Undertaker and, of course, during Abby's window. Can Bray come out and attack The Undertaker? It could happen. It's certainly a possibility, and that would lead up. And that's what, again, this has been on some of the dirt sheets today too, saying that could lead up to a match at WrestleMania, a rematch basically between The Fiend and Taker, and they could do a cinematic match. Now, how amazing would the cinematic match between those two guys be? Be awesome. Now, I don't know. Again, it's speculation at this point. Undertaker said he's done unless Vince pulls the fire alarm, basically, so to speak. So, is Vince going to pull the fire alarm for WrestleMania? Who knows? Who knows? We'll see, I guess. But it's always interesting to speculate. I see the chat talking about Sting. I just don't think. I think Sting's just a little bit too old at this point. Even for, look, the cinematic matches have been talked about as being kind of grueling too, because you just kind of, Taker said, you just stand around a lot. It's hours and hours and hours and hours of just standing. So, I just think Sting is, as much as I'd love to see it, I just think he just might be a little bit too old for that to happen. But we'll see. We'll see. It's interesting, nevertheless. Jeff, do you think there's any chance that we see? I don't think at Survivor Series we see him wrestle. I think he's just going to be there for the celebration type thing. But do you think there's any chance we might see him get attacked by somebody and then maybe lead to a match in the future?
If you had asked me this maybe 2 or 3 months ago, I would have told you no.
Yep.
But I think, and I think this because of how WWE is positioning Bray Wyatt at the moment. What better way to put Bray into the stratosphere than have him take on the Undertaker at WrestleMania and have that torch passed to him?
That's very true. Yep.
I think, obviously everyone wants Bray and Randy, and I definitely do too. But I think right now with what WWE is trying to do with Raw and what they're doing with the Fiend character and the amount of time and energy they're putting into that story with both Bray and Alexa, I can truly see that we get an attack on the Undertaker at Survivor Series from Bray. But here's something else that I'm going to throw out there.
Yep.
Who else will be at this celebration of the Undertaker? One would have to assume that his wife, Michelle McCool, will be there.
Oh, so I see where you're going. I see where you're going.
So,
yes, I do.
What better way to debut the Fiendess Alexa Bliss than to have her also included in a match at WrestleMania with Michelle McCool? And then what you do is you book in the story. The husband is going to be done after that, and the wife is going to be kind of defending his honor from a different perspective. So I could see that kind of being a double, kind of a double whammy, a dual story with the two of them. But that's just me, hoping and praying that actually happens. So we shall see.
That would be awesome. That would be some great booking, man. I like it. I like it a lot. Look, we've been talking about this, and like Jeff said, again, people are looking at that Orton tease and stuff like that we saw from Bray, but I don't think that's going to happen, especially next year early, because we all know Randy's going to have a date with Edge. There's no question about that. Randy is going to have a date with Edge, and I think that's going to be the WrestleMania match. Edge will be back. I'm guessing he reappears again at the Rumble, maybe like he did last year. So Edge is going to be back. Now, that could be for the title. If Randy wins, that could be Edge taking that title. You kind of know with his comeback, do they want to give Edge that title one more time? It's very possible. So it would leave Bray with, where is he going to go? What is he going to do? They have history. We know the Undertaker beat him at WrestleMania. So they've got history. That this is another thing in Bray's, in Bray's little book here, these books that he writes, the chapters that he writes. And it could certainly fit right in if they want to do that. So,
what if he did another variation of the Firefly Funhouse match, and
Yeah.
broke him down all the way to Mean Mark.
Yeah. Mark
You know,
Calloway. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
take him back to his original form.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so at that point, there's no more Undertaker. It's just
Yep.
Mark Calloway.
Just back to Mark Calloway. Yeah, that's a great
Yep.
point. That's a great point. Yeah, it's like I said, with the cinematic matches and stuff like that, you don't even have to. I mean, John Cena really didn't even wrestle when they did
No.
that Firefly Funhouse match. There was no wrestling in that match. People talked about it. All John Cena did was come out. There wasn't any moves, and he got beat at the end by a mandible claw. So you don't even have to really put Taker in any sort of position where he has to be physical. So yeah, it's great to think about. Like I said, you just don't, as of right now, I mean, you got Bray involved with this whole retribution thing, which could be something going on at Survivor Series, as well between them or him and Ali, whatever. But you really don't have anything that you could kind of look to see where he's going to go for next WrestleMania. And what a better way, like Jeff said, than for the torch to be passed by the Undertaker to Bray. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. All right. So yeah, Gary touched on a couple other things. Of course, he talked about Bound for Glory, which we will, I'm sure, get maybe into a little bit in our top 3. So why don't we go there, guys? Tell us what your mark out moments were from this past week, and we will start with ours. Jeff, what is your number 3 favorite moment of wrestling for the week?
So my number 3 moment of the week is it's kind of a funny moment, but it's also spawned a bunch of memes. AJ Styles and Jordan, and I'm not going to mention the last name because I'll butcher it.
Habaja, yeah.
Something. Yeah, we'll just call him Jordan O.
Jordan O. Yes.
But honestly, the visual of seeing AJ Styles standing in front of Jordan was one of the funniest things that I've seen.
Yep.
And honestly, like I really hope that Jordan gets an opportunity to wrestle and not just be a bodyguard or, as AJ called him, a friend. I really hope he gets a chance to showcase his talent. And it was funny because there's a meme out there that AJ posted with Jordan kind of being normal size, and he was like tiny. AJ was just tiny.
I saw that. That was
coming
really
down,
funny.
coming down the ramp. And then then he also said when someone asked him, is he your bodyguard? He's like, no, he's a friend, and we're gonna rule the basketball court. So it's like it's fun. That's fun. That's the way I like to see. I love a heel AJ Styles.
Yep.
Because it's completely different than who he really is in person. So yeah, it's so funny to see that, but I really like that wrinkle. And I know a lot of people have said, well, where's Joseph Parks? I don't think Abyss is completely done with being Abyss.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm just gonna leave that out there. I would not be surprised if he doesn't join someone at some point to take on a group of individuals. So that's just me throwing stuff out there. But yeah, that was my number 3 of the week.
That's a good one. You know what? It brought me right back to Diesel when Diesel was with Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, we remember those two. I mean, those two had a ball together when they did that. That's how they formed such a great friendship that they had. And it took me back to that. But it's, of course, the size difference. Yeah, that's hilarious. And I think it's good. Look, we all know that AJ needed something. He was kind of just, he's over on SmackDown. There's nothing really going on for him there. He got involved with the Intercontinental title and stuff like that, but it was really, he was kind of just being wasted there. And now he comes over, he's getting a little bit older in his career. He's been around for a little bit, and now he brings in this guy as his bodyguard. I think it's brilliant. I think it's a really good idea, and I think it could provide a lot of humor, and get AJ back into the spotlight a little bit too. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. My number 3, I'm going to go with something a little bit different here, because guys, one of the things about wrestling is to see some new things. Sometimes just getting out there and just taking a chance and seeing some new stuff. You see our logo up there in the middle. We talk about WWE a lot. We talk about Impact a lot. We talk about AEW. We talk, but the others, we kind of, NWA, of course, it just isn't out there as much anymore. So it's hard for us to talk about them. They only do 1 or 2 matches a week. Obviously, when they get back to the studio, of course, we will get back to talking about them because Jeff and I enjoyed it. But the others, we don't really talk about all that much, and indie wrestling and stuff like that too. So I went over, and a couple of people in the chat had mentioned it to me, and I went over and I watched Ring of Honor. Now, Ring of Honor on FITE, it's free every Monday night. It's on at 7:00. But what they're doing is something called Ring of Honor. They're doing what's called a pure tournament. Now, what they mean by that is it's more of I will tell you right now, if you're gonna give it a try, don't go in expecting it to be storylines, because there's not a whole lot. I will tell you, there's next to none. It's technically what they're doing here is it's pretty much just stripped down wrestling. So it's very different. It's of course in an empty arena, so you're not getting the fans, you're not getting that kind of thing there. But I have to say I enjoyed the matches. It was just, for me, it was something different to watch. I got to see some of the superstars in there. I got to see it was Fred Yehi. If I mispronounce their names, I don't mean to botch them. Tracy Williams. I got to see Josh Woods, and I got to see Dr. Black as well. So I got to see these guys wrestle, and I some of the entrances were really good. I enjoyed it. Again, it's not going to be for everybody, as wrestling is not. Everybody's going to kind of pick their different things. And ROH also has a show on during the week. Now that's where you'll see the storylines. That's where you'll see all the kind of stuff that we see on the other shows. But this is very different. And they're going along with this tournament to find out who wins this and stuff like that. But it was cool. And I also got to see a very good promo from EC3. Of course, we know EC3 is in Impact also, but I think a lot of these guys are kind of maybe doing dual time with both of these promotions, and maybe that was part of their contract signing. But EC3 cut an excellent promo. He was in the ring, very similar to the kind of promotions that he's doing in Impact, but I love EC3's promos that he's doing with this character. Really, really love it. And he did something very similar, talking about controlling your narrative, talking about kind of dissing WWE a little bit, and saying, I came from the ground. I was buried. I came from but it was really enjoyable. And listen, guys, and I guess the lesson to me is go out there, give other things a shot, because you'll never know what's out there until you try it. And there's so many people out there talking about they hate this, they hate that, they hate this, they hate that. Well, like we always say, and Jeff and I always tell you guys, there's choices. There's other things out there that you can go and watch. And again, ROH is free. It's on FITE TV, 7:00 p.m. on Monday nights. And you can see James watches it, and he said, yeah, it was just really, really good wrestling. So if you like the actual wrestling, you like the moves and stuff like that, it's very good wrestling. And give it a shot. Give it a shot. You'll never know until you try it, as my grandfather used to say, and I'm sure a lot of your grandfathers used to say, and mothers and whatever. But yeah, so it was just cool to see. And yeah. So I that was one of my top 3. That was my number 3, Jeff. So what is your number 2, man?
Man, so my number 2 here is going to probably shock a few people.
Uh-oh.
And I'm going to stay on the same show. I'm going to stay on Raw.
Okay.
For this one. But shout out to Lana.
Oh, table Lana.
And yeah, I know. I feel so bad for her. But the reason why I say that is because she actually put on a really good match with Asuka, and I felt held her own in some ways, and showed that, hey, she's not just a TikTok person. She's not just a social media person. She can actually wrestle. And I know a lot of people get tired of her, and they didn't want to see her in that match. But there, I'm pretty sure we all knew what the outcome was going to be when the match was announced. But to see other women getting the opportunity to be on a stage like that and have an opportunity to wrestle someone like Asuka is really good. So, we've seen the same thing with Zelina Vega. Now we see it with Lana. I really like that. And I know a lot of times people on social media just get so ridiculously bold when it comes to their criticisms of wrestlers. My thing is, these are people, and people have feelings, and you can say all the stuff you want to say about, well, sticks and stones and all that crap, but words matter. Words mean something. So to see her, come out and have a decent match with Asuka was really good to see. And the last thing that I'm going to say about this, and and this is just kind of a message to the wrestling community. How would you feel if someone came to your job and heckled you every single time you clocked in? If they said, man, Jeff he only types like 50 words a minute. Why doesn't he type 83? Or, that was a really dumb thing that Jeff did today at work. I mean, if I were Jeff, I would have done it this way or that way. We have to be careful with those things because, again, these are people. And I know that all of us love wrestling and, we enjoy it. But at the end of the day, it's entertainment. And I think people lose sight of that sometimes. So I just wanted to shout out Lana because I honestly think that she's a heck of a wrestler when given the opportunity. And and I thought she did well on Monday night.
Yeah, man. Look, good for Asuka because, Asuka, when they make these programs with each other and stuff like that, Asuka, obviously you always hear about putting people over and stuff like that. And they really, yeah, it made Lana look good. And that's good. It's better than, a lot of people were saying that she's going to get buried because of her husband. Because obviously, Rusev Mero made his debut in AEW, and a lot of people just assumed, oh man, Vince is not happy with that. He's going to bury Lana. Well, obviously that's not true. So this is the kind of stuff that you hear in the dirt sheets and things like that. So yeah, I'm all for it. It's cool. Gives some, again, like I said, to give some different wrestling a chance. Give some different people a chance to. So yeah, I'm all for that. All right. My number 2. Now I'm going to take one too that is very, very recent. And I told Jeff about this earlier tonight before we got on the show. If you guys have not seen this, please go to the Twitter or my Twitter, actually, and you will just absolutely laugh your heads off. You guys know, I'm sure most of you know who Danhausen is. He's one of the biggest independent wrestlers that's out there. He's got the painted face, kind of a little bit like I don't know, like what his inspiration is. Of course, he's got the white and the red and the black. So kind of a horror looking character, but he reminds me a little bit of like a cross between Gene Simmons and King Diamond, with the makeup that he wears and stuff like that. Of course, a little bit of Joker in him too. But Jeff and I have always liked him from the very, very start. He's a very charismatic personality, and the stuff that he does in independent wrestling, he's been on some shows here and there, but he's mostly in independent wrestling. And he did a skit tonight that was absolutely hilarious, and I laughed and laughed and laughed at the skit, and I must have watched it 3 or 4 times. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It is so funny. He literally did a skit about PWI, Pro Wrestling Illustrated. We know that they came out with their women's top, I think it was top 100 or maybe a little bit more, I don't remember, but they came out with their top 100. They also came out now with the men's. So of course there you see it starts, and Dan Hausen gets the magazine and he starts talking in that voice that he has about, how, oh, look, Dan Hausen should be number 1, and just kind of going through it. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. Go and watch it. It's really, really, really great. What he does, and then when he finds out that Moxley, and of course he's reading up the list, and he gets to Cody, I guess, and he calls him Corey. He gets to Jericho, and he calls him Chris Judas, and then he gets up to number 1, which was Moxley, and he looks at that and he's like, "What is this? Who is this?" And then the guy that's in the background announcer and stuff for his shows goes, "Well, that's John Moxley." And he's like, "Who is this John Moxley Hausen?" And it's just so good. And then he flips out, like saying, "They promised I was going to be number 1." And he just flips out and he starts cursing and saying he's going to shove the magazine up there, what. And it's just, it was so funny. And I think that's great. I think that's great. He's such a charismatic dude. And I think he's also very down to earth. If you go and look at his Twitter, one of the pictures you'll see is him without the costume, without the makeup, and a picture of him marrying his wife and proposing to his wife, and that's his pinned tweet. So, again, just a guy who he's so popular in the wrestling universe. And he's never been on a big show. Like I think he was he on Impact, Jeff? I think he might have been on Impact, or was it a different promotion?
He's been in Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, but I mean, there's a guy who has not been on any of the major shows. He's not been on AEW like some of the people like Cody wrestled, Warhorse, and some of the others. And but yet he makes a living doing this, and the dude is super popular, and I think it's great. The persona that he has created, I think it's absolutely great. So go watch that. Check out the Twitter. It's really, really funny. You'll have a good laugh, and again, something brings a smile to my face and a chuckle. I'm all about it, and I thought that was great. King Diamond shout, says Rusty. Yes, I used to listen to King Diamond when I was a younger man. Rated R Wrestling, hello to you. Kevin Correa, hello to you. Seeing people join. Sonny Wolf, hello to you, Sonny. Who else? Tyson Miller's here. Hello to you. Days Fan is here. Hello to you. I want to shout out. So Hayden said, my favorite moments of the week are probably The Fiend attacks Retribution. Yep, we covered that on Abby's, of course. Alexa appearing on Firefly Funhouse. We covered that as well. Nia Jax put Lana into the announce table for the 5th time in a row. Yeah, I mean that's going to be an ongoing thing. That is going to be an ongoing thing. So, all right, Jeff, what was your number 1?
So, going to sound like a broken record, and I honestly don't care.
I'm guessing it's something with Impact, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Honestly, the promo that EC3 cut last night on Impact was tremendous.
Yep.
And we made this comment last night, but I'm so happy for both him and Eric Young and Heath and the Good Brothers, and I would even say Mike Bennett, formerly Mike Canales. to see them get an opportunity and not be lost in the shuffle is amazing. And just thinking about the fact that you have a talented person on the microphone and in the ring like EC3, and he can't manage to get on television, and now you see him, and he's on Ring of Honor and he's in Impact, and to see him getting this opportunity now, and this is going to sound corny, but to control his own narrative and control his trajectory is just amazing. And if you haven't checked out Impact, I don't wait. um if you can afford it, and listen, I know it's difficult times, um but if you can afford it and you can watch Bound for Glory, I just think it's going to be special. And one of the matches, I mean, the entire card is great, but I'm really looking forward to EC3 versus Moose, because I think that match is going to be something that, maybe it's not the best wrestling match, but I think the story that they will tell, as they've told now for a while since Slammiversary, is just going to be phenomenal. And a lot of that is EC3 and his ability to, cut these promos and do the things that he's done. But, I also have to shout out, and I feel like we do it every week, but I mean, it's deserved. I have to shout out Impact, because the build that they put in for Bound for Glory is tremendous. And I'm invested in every single match on that card. Every single one. From the 6-way scramble for the X Division Championship all the way down to the Collier shot gauntlet match. I'm invested in all of it. And rarely do you get a pay-per-view where you're like, I want to see every single match on that card. And that's what we get this weekend for Bound for Glory. So shout out to Impact. And like the big LG said, and Gary brought it up, if you're sleeping on Impact, you need to wake your butt up right now, because we're witnessing greatness right now.
Great shout, man. I'm going to read this really quick because I don't want you guys to think that we're Impact homers because we do a stream for it. I'm just going to read this. This came from Bleacher Report. Every week, Impact finds a way to spotlight different rivalries and stories in short vignettes, never overexposing them or devoting too much television time to them. This was another stretch of vignettes that helped get over rivalries that will culminate at Bound for Glory, not to mention what is sure to be a surreal wedding that they're talking, of course, about Rosemary. Kudos to Impact's continued dedication to putting just enough emphasis on programs to keep them relevant without tiring fans out on them. So that was one. And then a little bit later, they talked about, of course, the promo from Kylie Ray, the Minions with EC3 and things like that. They gave that, again, this was extraordinary promo work from both Ray and EC3. Both got over the story of their match, explained their motivations, and created interest for their battles. It was a welcome change of pace to see Ray address the match with Purrazzo without the smiley, just happy to be her personality that we've come to expect from her. She was intense, serious, and hell-bent on exacting revenge for Purrazzo's attack on Susie and the emotional trauma it caused her. EC3, as the twisted, inspirational speaker trying to get others to avoid mediocrity he experienced elsewhere, is a great role for him, and one he is absolutely embraced. He did as much in this promo to get the match with Moose over as anyone, really hammering home the importance of the match to his opponent rather than himself. That is courtesy of Bleacher Report. And so, I mean, yeah, they are getting write-ups for. They gave their promos A's. Like Bleacher's tough. They are tough on people. If you've ever read their match reviews or their show reviews, they're tough. They're tough on everyone. And a lot of the matches got C's, but they gave the promos all A's. So look, they are absolutely doing an amazing job with that. Absolutely amazing job. All right, my number one. And I think he was listed on our list last week. I'm going with Mustafa Ali again, because now bear with me, because I know you guys might be thinking, yeah, well, he got beat up by the Fiend. Yes, but later on in the show, they brought it full circle. And I'm all about bringing things full circle. The SmackDown hacker. They revealed that Ali was the SmackDown hacker. Bravo, WWE, because everybody said this was buried. It was done. It was over. Yes, including myself. Shows ago, which seems like eons sometimes, I even said as well, what is going on with this? Where are they going with this? Well, now we know. Ali was behind all of this. I'm sure we're going to get more reveals about this. And I love the way that he came out and said, you maybe think you can out physical me, or you maybe think, and he was talking to Bray, or maybe he was also talking to the Hurt Business as well. But I can attack you in other ways. So this makes this really, really interesting to me. And, go back to Impact. We're seeing Sami Callihan, who kind of does a similar thing, doing some stuff that you wouldn't expect with Ken Shamrock there. So controlling technology. So are they building a character like that with Ali? Ali may not be the biggest guy out there and maybe can't compete with a guy like Bray. But what can he do behind the scenes? How can he attack from the inside? I like this. I really, really like this. And I like that they finally brought this back and didn't discard it. And now it makes you wonder. And a lot of skeptics might say, oh, they're just covering their tracks. They toss this in the garbage. They're just covering. But how do you know? How do you know? Because we talk about this on Abby's. We talk about this a lot, that all of this was set in motion and all of this stuff was in the plan. Well, we don't know that. And how do you know that this was not all in a plan all along? That they were going to get rid of the hacker. They were going to ship Ali to Raw. They're going to move him around. How do we know that this wasn't all part of this? And I like it. I really, really like it. And good for Mustafa Ali. I would like nothing more than to see Mustafa Ali against Bray. I would enjoy the hell out of that, because I know that he's not going to beat him physically. And he's probably not going to win the match, because there might be something weird that'll happen where Retribution comes in and attacks Bray or something along those lines. But I'd still be up for it, because Ali is a good wrestler and I think he's a good dude, and I think he deserves this, and I think he deserves a shot at some of the spotlight. And I would love to see that if that's where they're headed with this. So, all right, guys. Well, there it is. There is our top 3 moments of the week from myself and Jeff. We had a little bit different stuff there, didn't we? We got some Impact. We got some WWE. We got some Ring of Honor. We got some Independence. And, teaser time. That's what we're going to do going forward. So it may not be right away, because we've got to get over this weekend first, because we got a lot of stuff going on. But we are going to get into some different things on this show, especially on our podcast here. We're going to change things a little bit. We're going to keep some things, but we're also going to change. We're going to talk about independence more. We may have something called an independence spotlight or something along those lines. We'll think of names down the road. But yes, Nails, I mentioned Dan Hausen and that amazing thing that he just did with PWI. I told everybody to go check it out. And Ring of Honor as well this week. So, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to bring in some different things. We're going to talk about some different stuff. Look, everybody and anybody talks about WWE. And we're still going to talk about WWE. We have a whole show devoted to Bray. That's not changing. But we are in our show here going to just change things up a little bit. We're going to bring you guys a little bit of different stuff, a little bit of some stuff that, you know, we can pitch to you. Jeff can pitch to you some things that he saw, some things that I've seen. We've watched some different stuff. We're seeing some new stuff. It's exciting. And you guys can come along for the ride. And if you choose to watch some of this stuff and enjoy it, amazing. Absolutely amazing. And again, I love it. I love seeing new people in the chat. I love seeing new people come to the show. And I want you guys to kind of feel it, what we feel, kind of see what we see. And if that's to get you guys to see some new things, that's absolutely amazing. So that's where we're going to go in the future of this particular show. So excited for that. Also, we've got video coming as well. So that may be a little scary, especially for you guys. But I don't know.
Discretion is advised.
Yeah, I might end up wearing one of my many COVID masks for the first like 18 weeks because I have like a collection of COVID masks. So I may end up just wearing those for a little while, and then maybe I'll do a face reveal like Gene Simmons of Kiss did on MTV. I don't know. We'll have to see, but yeah. So we'll be doing that somewhere down the road too, and you will finally, whether you like it or not, get to see our lovely faces on a screen. So some people say it's a long time coming, but we'll see. Yeah, I know. You might regret it. You might regret it. It may not be good shit. Yes, Vince may not like it. I don't know. But yeah, we'll see. So, all right. Let's get to our contest, shall we? Because I said we're not probably going to keep you too long this evening because we've got another show tomorrow. Make sure you're here tomorrow night. I'm going to start about 9:15 tomorrow night. That is going to be our preview show for both Hell in a Cell and Bound for Glory. So we will talk about our predictions for both of those shows. Sunny Wolf says we're lovely. I don't know about that, Sunny. I think I'm a little bit aged past the point of lovely. When you get a new car, it's lovely. When a car ages later on, they kind of just call it a classic. So I'll take that. I'll take classic. I'll take classic. So yeah, make sure you join us tomorrow night for our prediction shows for both of those shows. All right. Now, let me get back to this. And as I told you guys a little earlier, some of you guys didn't follow all the instructions. Good Lord. Some of you retweeted and you tweeted, but you didn't comment and you didn't. So anywho, I am using a lovely number generator app, and I'm going to go and I'm going to throw that number in right now. So let's see who will win the code for Bound for Glory, and you will be glorious. All right. So let's see what we got here. And this is a wonderful little app. I get to shake the phone, and the phone actually generates the number for me after I shake the phone. How cool is that? How cool is that? All right, here we go. Ready? All right, the winner is number 11. All right, so there we go. It is number 11. I will read off that person right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Look at that. Our own Dave in real life is the winner. Dave in real life. Congratulations. Dave in real life is the winner of the code for Bound for Glory. Dave is not in the chat. If somebody knows Dave, give him a nudge, wake him up and tell him he is the winner of the code from FITE TV and gets to watch on FITE TV, and thank you to them, obviously, for supplying us with the code. Dave gets to watch Bound for Glory this coming Saturday night with us, and come over and watch the show with us. Guys, look, if you don't have, and I know, like Jeff said earlier tonight, it's been, of course, everybody's having some tough times now with COVID. If you don't have the money for the pay-per-view, totally understandable. Come on over anyway. We'll walk you through. it. I try to do the play-by-play as best I can. Jeff comes in and does the color commentary. So we'll walk you through it. If you don't have the cash to dole out for the pay-per-view, we'll walk you through it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So don't miss it. Don't miss Bound for Glory. It's going to be really, really great. So congrats to Dave in real life. And I will get him his code and send that to him in his DMs for Bound for Glory. So awesome. And again, like I said, thank you very much to our friends at FITE TV for supplying that code to us to be able to do this for you guys. And hopefully we get to do this in the future with those guys as well. Maybe they'll have something for AEW. Usually the AEW codes are just for overseas viewers. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But thank you to them. All right. I think that's about it. Let's go, Jessi. Jessi, you're up. Jessi. Let's get to our fun part of the night with Jessi Calynn. I know Jessi's she's streaming them up. She's got she had a bunch last week. I think she had 3 or 4 jokes for us last week. So Jessi, we're calling you out. We are ready for the laugh part of our show. And of course, on the podcast, we will always keep this section of the podcast going forward because it's just a lot of fun. Rusty says, who decided to call it Dwayne Johnson's wrestling career instead of classic rock? Oh, jeez. Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Like Nail said, there's a lot of other competitions out there. A lot of people did them like we did. So yeah, if you haven't, if you haven't done so, go check it out. Go look around. There's a lot of other podcasts and stuff that give out codes. So go do that. Go enter. You never know. You might win. And there you go. And then you won't have to pay for it, which is wonderful. Wonderful. All right. So Jessi, you're up, Jessi. Whenever you get ready, we are set to go. In the meantime, so like I said, tomorrow night, make sure you're with us at 9:15 Eastern Standard Time. We will be on with our prediction show for Bound for Glory and Hell in a Cell. Hell in a Cell, we've only got four matches, I think it is, and we may not hear about any more until Friday, so we can only do what we can do. So that might be very quick. And talk about those 4 matches that they have announced so far, unless they give us some more tomorrow online or something along that line. We'll see, but it should be pretty short. Jessi says, I have 2 tonight. Just a second. Cool. Very, very cool. And then of course nothing on Friday, and then Saturday we've all been talking about this for a long time. Bound for Glory, man. Jeff said it best earlier. Super excited for that. I am pumped. I am pumped, man. We want to pump you up. Yes, I am pumped. And I am pumped for Saturday night. We've been looking forward to this for a long, long time. The guys in the chat can tell you how fun the Impact streams are. And an Impact pay-per-view just takes it up about 7 notches. So I cannot wait for that. James is boosting. Boost. Yes. It's going to be a great time. So make sure that you guys are there. I know there's things going on. I know there's always other things going on, but come over and join us even for a little while because it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a great show on Saturday. And then, of course, join us also on Sunday. Now, Sunday, I will be late arrival to that. So that'll be Jeff and Jody, maybe Brandy. If Brandy's available, they will start you out on Hell in a Cell, and then I will be along as soon as I can when I get home. Saturday, I'll be there for the whole thing. Luckily enough, I got to work a little bit earlier on Saturday, so I get to get out in time so I can get home and be here for the whole show for Bound for Glory. So again, super excited about that. Next week, of course, we have the Halloween edition of Abby's Window. So that's coming up on Monday. And of course, we may have something to talk about from the pay-per-view. We'll see. On Tuesday, we have the Impact, and we have the wedding of Rosemary and Johnny Bravo. I'm so sad. I'm so very sad. I hope something really bad goes down, and I hope Johnny Bravo goes away somehow. So we'll see what happens there. And of course, the follow-up to the pay-per-view are always good on Impact. The follow-up to Slammiversary on Impact was amazing. So, all right, Jesse's doing a countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, nails, I know. I'm so sad. I'm so sad. Sonny's going to break Johnny Bravo's knees. All right, here we go. Why do trees seem suspicious on sunny days? Don't know. But they seem kind of shady. Oh, yes. Yes. Very nice. Rusty sending his condolences to me. I know. It's so sad. I'll be sad on Tuesday. I'll be honest. It's going to be a very sad stream. I will be very somber on Tuesday. And yes, of course, next Wednesday, exciting Halloween Havoc. Halloween Havoc. We will stream that because it's Halloween. We have Abaddon on AEWs. That'll be cool. We got some cool things. Next week's going to be really cool in wrestling because it's going to be all Halloween, man. It's going to be all Halloween all the time. I'm sure Bray's going to have something cool for us on Monday. And yeah, so it's going to be a fun week, man. I'm fired up about Halloween. At least we'll all be like, yeah, true. I mean, Impact never disappoints, and it's always a fun time. I know I'll be a little somber, but I'm still thinking this Father Mitchell will come through. I'm still thinking something's going to happen. I'm thinking something's going to happen. Something's going to come. They're going to get rid of Johnny Bravo for me. I just know it. Jesse, all right, we got another countdown. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Bump, 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 bump. Where is the joke? Bump, 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 bump. We got Butterspark. Wait, I don't get it. That's a video game laughter, dude. I love that. Final Fantasy. It reminds me of Final Fantasy 6 whenever I see that, because there is a guy named Kefka, and Kefka, I would always say, all right, here we go. Jesse says, I have an EpiPen. My friend gave it to me while he was dying. It seemed really important to him. Oh, nice. Oh, I love it. I love it. Good stuff. Good stuff. Oh man, goodness. I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah. So guys, I mean, look, we're excited because again, it's always fun to grow and to change. And we've got some ideas floating around. Jeff and I are going to brainstorm for this show, and we've got changes coming. Oh, there's my 10th grade face. Look at that hair, dude. Look at that hair. I wish to God I could have hair like that again and not all gray. Look at that. I'll tell you a story. I used to go, and seriously, I did this. I used to go and sit in beauty salons when I was that age, and I'd be probably the only guy in there. With all women with very big hair, because that was the 80s. And yeah, I would sit there with these big things. They called them dinosaur clips. And I would sit there in the back room with these clips in my hair, because my hair is straight as straight can get. And that curly thing you've got going on there, I wanted to grow a mullet too, but it would never grow that long. But I sat there with those clips in my hair in the back room, as embarrassed as you could be, because a lot of the women in there were like not that much older than me. I was like 15 or so, and they were, in their 20s and stuff like that. So you're sitting in this room with all women, and I have these clips in my hair. And you want to talk about feeling like a complete idiot, but this is what we did. We all loved our hair. And me, look, I loved the show Cheers when I was younger. I still do to this day. And if you've ever seen Cheers, Sam Malone, who's the guy that owns the bar, Sam loved his hair. And when I watched that show, something of Sam Malone rubbed off on me. And I just love, if I lose my hair ever, I will figure out a way to get it back. Or I will wear a wig, or I will get extensions or something along those lines. I will never, ever, ever, ever. I shouldn't say this, but I can't let. It's just, look, my hair. It's just, I love my hair. I used to tell my people at work that I used to make my own shampoo. I tell them that I'd make it with eggs and all this other stuff, and they literally believe me. It's funny stuff. All right, so yes, that is my crazy 10th grade picture. So that's it, guys. Thank you for coming out as always. And like my 10th grade picture says there, thank you for watching the show. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your night. And I look forward to everything we got coming on for the rest of the week. Make sure you join us tomorrow night for the prediction show, and then join us for Bound for Glory on Saturday, and again for Hell in a Cell on Sunday. Thanks to all of you guys, especially those that stayed up late. James Chadwick, I know, dude, it's super, super late over there. Get some rest. Go and get some sleep, for goodness sakes. Like Ferris says, why are you still here? It's time to go. Go home. Go home. Yes. All right. Thanks, guys. Really, really appreciate you coming out. Love to you all. Thank you so much for joining us. We will talk to you again tomorrow night at 9:15. Hope you all have a great, great rest of your night. Stay safe. And we will talk to you soon. Take care, everybody. Good night.